NBC10 at Issue starts now.
Listening in, it was a must-have for Christmas, the hot-selling Amazon Echo. Today, we'll discuss whether or not you should be concerned about your privacy when it comes to a device that's always listening. Good morning, I'm Jacqueline London for NBC10 at Issue. We begin with a story that is getting a lot of national attention, but it has plenty of local implications because you may own the device at the center of the controversy, an Amazon Echo. That device is involved in an unusual murder investigation in Arkansas, and the case is raising questions about the intersection between privacy and technology. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has the details.
This morning, a murder case is testing the limits of privacy inside your home.
Alexa, turn off the light.
The Amazon Echo, better known as Alexa,
what's the weather?
was a bestseller this Christmas, but now police in Bentonville, Arkansas have filed a warrant for electronic data from the virtual assistant to help solve a murder.
We know Amazon has a copy because consumers can actually listen to all of their Alexa requests and they can delete them.
What's not clear is how much relevant data is on the device or on Amazon servers. Prosecutors say 32-year-old James Bates murdered his co-worker Victor Collins, who was found strangled in Bates's hot tub. Bates, who called 911 when he found Collins, has pleaded not guilty.
Did anybody think when this was being created that information that you gave to Alexis or you gave to the Amazon Echo would be used outside your home and then to be used to have you arrested for a crime you didn't commit?
But investigators say this new technology is just another piece of the puzzle.
We have established probable cause and obtained a warrant from a judge to search this device the same way we would search a person's cell phone, we would search a person's home.
Amazon tells NBC News it will not release customer information without a valid and binding legal demand properly served on us. Amazon objects to overbroad or otherwise inappropriate demands as a matter of course.
When we give companies data, the big problem is not only how will it be used today, but how could it be combined with other data in the future and then used against us?
That was NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reporting. Amazon tells us it's important to remember that while the Echo is always listening, it's not always recording until it hears its trigger word. Joining me now to tell us more about this and understand this new type of technology is local security expert Ron Schlecht Jr. Ron is the co-founder and managing partner of BTB Security. He has more than a dozen years of experience in IT and cybersecurity. Thank you so much for being here. We did speak to Amazon Technology about the Echo. They tell us that customers have complete control of what is said and what is recorded, and they're allowed to delete it if they want to. Your reaction to that?
Absolutely. I mean, they record 60 seconds prior to the actual trigger word. If the trigger word's used and there's a query in the response, that's actually kept as well. You can control it, but at the same time, the experience that you actually have with that device and its accuracy, if the history is deleted, obviously diminishes.
What if a word is said, if you happen to say Alexa, or if the device thinks you're saying Alexa and you're not, and it starts recording without your knowledge?
Yeah, so this has actually become one of the funnier parts of this. So the commercial for Alexa comes on, it says the word or it says the trigger word. They can be renamed, but at the same time, they will start that actual query recording and any responses that it has. So it can be accidental, and we've seen, and there's actually been quite a few YouTube videos out there where children have actually tripped these and gotten some pretty bad responses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We know about the cloud from our own personal experiences with our smart devices. If somebody goes in and deletes from the cloud, is it gone forever, or is it still lingering out there?
There's the potential that it's still lingering out there, and that's really where a lot of these privacy concerns come in. So they're recording the queries and the responses. They're kept in the cloud, but whether they're backed up, how many copies they have of them, this is where the legal matters start to take precedent. So, you know, it can be subpoenaed, the information is out there, and it could potentially be retrieved.
What do you recommend to consumers who are worried about technology and their privacy and what is revealed?
I think the first thing is to realize from a consumer standpoint that you are the goods with a lot of these devices. So, you know, it's kind of like the Kindle that's out there now. It's $205 to produce and it's $199 for sale on Amazon. So they're actually losing money on it, but at the same time, you know, they're gaining a lot of consumer potential from it, and the same goes with these devices. They're probably a loss leader to make, but at the same time, they're gaining information about our habits, even things that are connected within our houses and the things that we order. So we have to realize that we're giving up a lot of that privacy and helping people market to us.
Because for these devices to work and for Alexa to be able to hear your command, it has to be connected to the internet in your home. So if a tech-savvy neighbor wants to listen in, could they?
There's a potential. I mean, there's enough documented from Amazon that shows that it is protected adequately, but you mentioned the fact that it's connected to all of these other devices. So we're starting to see more devices creep into our homes that are internet connected. They're great. They're shiny new gadgets, help us do home automation or security or, make toast or whatever it may be. But at the same time, security vulnerabilities on them can give us access to things like, the Echo or Google Home, whichever it may be.
If we trust Apple with Siri on our phones, is there any real difference here?
It's much the same, other than the fact that it is in our home, so it is connected in a more wide way, and I think the implications are a lot more scary.
What do you see in the future? We're hearing a lot more about artificial intelligence. Is this something that we just need to get used to because we're only going to see more of it? It's just going to explode?
I think it's something that people are starting to be a little bit more comfortable with releasing their private information or having it used in ways that makes their experience with Amazon or any other company better. So that's one thing that we all have to realize. The second part of that is that there are ways to combat this. There are things that you can do and be more realistic about how it's implemented in your house or in your life.
How so? If somebody received this for Christmas and they want to take precautions but still utilize it, how can they protect themselves?
You can turn it off. You can mute it. Again, part of the draw to these devices is that they're always on and you can talk to them and have them do things. It can be muted. You can also turn them off. If you're connecting it to multiple other devices that are controlling home automation or security within your house, then start to think about those things, whether they're on a separate network, you create a completely separate network in your own home, or you secure it in some way to make sure that it's not intermingling if you work from home or do some certain things that you would actually want protected.
We know this was a popular device over the holidays, so were drones.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that and whether drones could be a threat to our privacy and security. We're seeing it more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again one of those technologies, and how quickly it's been adopted, and actually the price points have come down quite dramatically. There are rules and regulations on how you fly them and where you fly them and who can fly them, but at the same time, the bad guys aren't necessarily giving into those rules. They're not following those rules, so they can be used to spy on things, plan out attacks, whatever it may be.
What do you see in the President-elect's new administration, new privacy bills, and Congress's agenda? What do you see happening down the road? It's a fresh start. Every time that we have any sort of major change like that in government, it's an opportunity to do things or reset things the correct way. I haven't seen anything specifically that gives me too much hope that things will change for the better, but you always have to have an open mind to see and to hope that things could potentially change. We could get new people in the administration that could be increased focus on it, but I think the real crux is that the government starts to work with private industry a lot more closely. When you think about cyber attacks, what concerns you the most and keeps you up at night, since this is your area of expertise? Yeah. What keeps me up and what really worries me is that the infrastructure in the countries that are developing and the people that really want to do major damage to the United States has continued to increase. And the United States, as long as, as well as a bunch of our allies, have helped that because we're trying to bring a lot of those countries and a lot of those areas further along in infrastructure. But the prevalence and the continued infrastructure growth in those areas is going to allow those people, the people that have, essentially been enemies of the United States and want harm on the United States, to carry out attacks that are a little bit more sophisticated now. And they haven't had that technology, but it is coming. What about ransomware? Several agencies predict that that will become a major threat in 2017. For those who aren't familiar, describe what it is and how we can protect ourselves from it. Yeah, ransomware at its very base is essentially like a virus. It's a piece of malware. In most cases, it takes over somebody's computer system and holds it ransom, or the data ransom. So it encrypts it in some way and then forces the person to pay to have that information unlocked or decrypted.
It's more prevalent now. The problem has been that the cases are more widespread, and quite honestly, for people to pay the ransom is actually rather low, as opposed to trying to back out, reformatting their computer, or changing how they're actually doing computing or trying to get the information back. So taking the necessary precautions is actually more expensive than just paying the ransom and hoping that they don't attack again and they actually give you the key to unlock all of your data.
With this technology likely not going away, we need to be knowledgeable on it. So thank you for being here and providing some insight, protecting ourselves.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
We appreciate it. Ron Schlick Jr. from BTB Security. Thank you. Next on NBC 10 at Issue.